Well, if we're gonna find any ghosts, we better split up.
You're listening to Never Split Up, a horror movie podcast.
There are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror movie.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Never Split Up podcast. My name's Nolan. Alongside, as always, is Anthony, and today is episode 62, and we are keeping with it. We just finished up Halloween. We're sticking with the holiday theme. We are covering Thanksgiving, released in 2023, directed by Eli Roth. How you doing today, Ant? What's going on?
I'm doing good. I feel like it was just Halloween, but now we're already rolling into the next holiday with Thanksgiving, so I'm happy we get to keep this holiday horror theme going.
Yes. And this movie was released last year, so this is like the first Thanksgiving that we have this movie like in the cosmos that we're able to, go back and rewatch. I believe both of this movie was both on our top 10 last year, and we had mentioned that this is going to be a yearly rewatch. So this is like our first crack at doing it. How was your viewing of this movie for the first time on your first annual rewatch?
I mean, this movie is silly fun, so it's always a blast. So I always get the giggle, and it gives me I love Thanksgiving. It's one of my favorite holidays. I think it's underrated. So I think this slasher movie, it's good that Thanksgiving has like a straight up slasher movie, and I'm excited that I was debating on whether we should cover it this year or next year, because in 2025 we are getting a sequel. So I'm excited that, this franchise isn't going anywhere. So it's going to be cool to have a new movie next year and rewatch both of them back to back.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely agree. I think Thanksgiving kind of gets the short end of the stick sandwich between Halloween and Christmas.
For sure.
It's one of my favorite holidays as well. I love me some turkey. I know a lot of people don't love turkey.
It's food. It's all about food. Who doesn't love food?
Yeah, I love the mashed potatoes, everything. I mean, give it to me.
Mashed potatoes is my favorite. Yep.
Yeah. So, no, same with me. This is always a fun watch. Like I said before, people who have listened to this podcast, especially last year, know that we both adore this movie. So it's no surprise that we're going to be raving about it this episode and what we like about it. You posted a poll, correct? Do you want to go over our Never Split Up poll and just kind of cover all that?
Yes, so we kind of did a 1-2 punch the week of Halloween. So I posted a poll we did a top 10 countdown for our favorite 2010s horror movies. If you guys haven't checked that out, make sure you look into that one. That was a lot of fun, stressful but fun. I thought we handled it well, and it was a very fun conversation. But I posted that one on Twitter, and I came out top. I just said, whose list do you agree with more? So I came out on top for that. And then after that, we covered Trick or Treat, and I thought our Never Split Up moments were both pretty hilarious and fun. So check out that episode. That was fun. And we got a really good turnout on Instagram, actually. And it was a slaughter on Instagram. People really don't like when people take their Halloween decorations down. So I appreciated that.
I figured, because that's like I figured it was
I said it as a funny haha, but I'm like, damn, people agree.
Well, mine was so unconventional that...
you were like, damn, the killer's killing.
Yeah.
But so I came out on top for both of those. But guys, again, we covered a lot of fun movies in October. So if you haven't checked out our coverage for the countdown to Halloween, go back and rewatch all those episodes. We had a lot of biggies, so make sure you don't let those go by the wayside.
Yeah, definitely. Halloween season is over for everyone, but not for the Never Split Up podcast. We're still chugging along, so we'll still be here. But definitely check out those episodes. We're really proud of them. That went by way too fast. We were busy with the podcast, but it was a great season, and thank you everyone who listened and tuned in, and also who voted in our polls. We always appreciate it. So, okay, let's get into Thanksgiving. This is going to be fun. Let's go over the cast and crew, and I'll let you do that.
Okay, so this movie, like Nolan said, it came out last November 2023. And the premise is, after a Black Friday riot ends in a tragedy, a mysterious Thanksgiving-inspired killer terrorizes Plymouth, Massachusetts, the birthplace of the infamous holiday. So it's Overload Thanksgiving, which I love. It's directed by Eli Roth, and I believe this is our first Eli Roth movie we are covering.
I
which
believe
is very
so.
interesting because he is a horror legend and he has plenty of horror movies that we have to get to. I actually want to do a ranking of his filmography because people are very divisive with his movies, but I'm a fan of his, and I think that this kind of vibe is perfectly suited for him. So I'm happy that he has a franchise on his hands, and it stars Patrick Dempsey. You know, Scream alumni we got going right in here. So Patrick Dempsey, we have Nell Verlake. She's the final girl in this movie. Gina Gershon, she's a '90s legend in movies. I'm in my 30s, so I'm showing my age, but apparently Addison Rae is like a TikTok star. I've never been on TikTok in my life, but she's a TikToker, so she's a supporting cast member in this. And then so we have our victims, and that's that's our cast, and it's a fun movie. Oh, I have to shout out Rick Hoffman because he's a Eli Roth alumni as well, and he always cracks me up and everything I see him in. So I just wanted to make sure I shouted him out. But yeah, this is a campy holiday slasher, and I love my slashers and holiday horrors. So sweet spot, we got a sweet spot right here.
Yeah, we do. It's for both of us. We both love our slashers. So yes, for sure. Yeah, we can just get into our overall thoughts and our obviously we both recommend the movie. I guess I'll go first. I think this is you mentioned Eli Roth is a legend. He's been around for a long time. I think this is Eli Roth firing on all cylinders. I think it's the perfect, like you said, it's the perfect mix. It's the perfect blend, the perfect type of movie for a guy like Eli Roth. And you can really tell that he built this movie from the ground up. I believe he had help with Jeff Rendell. They both wrote the story.
Close friends.
Yeah. So you can tell, and I'll let you get into some of the backstory behind this movie. I know it started as like a gag. Was it a commercial, technically? Like a gag commercial?
So if you guys remember in 2007, Quentin Tarantino and Eli Roth, or no, was it Eli Roth? I can't remember. It wasn't, I can't remember who directed, the Grindhouse came out. And Thanksgiving is what Eli Roth, it was Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino, I'm sorry. But we had a bunch of directors like Rob Zombie and Eli Roth, they directed like fake trailers. For like
that's what it was. It was a trailer.
And Thanksgiving was one of the trailers back in 2007. And ever since that came out, that was like the most hyped about part of that movie, pretty much. And they were like, we need a full movie. So now, almost 20 years later, we finally got it. So I thought that was, awesome.
Yeah, me too. I definitely agree. So yeah, you could tell that Eli Roth, had his hands all over this story and all over this movie. And like I said, it's the perfect blend for him. I think he just nails the tone. And blends that humor with the over the top campiness with the gore, and I thought the story was pretty solid. It wasn't groundbreaking or anything, but this is a fun slasher, so we don't need anything super crazy. And yeah, it has a ton of nods to slashers before it. So I know you love an Easter egg and a different nod to movies. So it's got a little bit of everything, and on top of it, the cherry on top is that it's a holiday-themed horror movie, and it's Thanksgiving, which is a great holiday that we don't really have a ton of great movies around, especially horror movies. So this is great that we can kind of hang our hat on this movie every November, and we can watch this yearly. Right. And it's just oozing Thanksgiving. You said it takes place in Plymouth. You have the parade scene, which is awesome. You have the dinner table scene, which is, I think, the standout of the movie for me. Yeah, so it's great to watch every Thanksgiving, but I would watch this year round. So it's that good of a movie, and it's done that well, and it's surprisingly gory. I remember seeing this in theaters and just kind of surprised that they went there. I mean, it's Eli Roth, so I didn't expect it to be not gory, but based on the trailers and everything, I wasn't quite sure how over the top they were going to go, but they really went all out with the special effects, and I really appreciate that. So I think the cast was okay. Good. Patrick Dempsey was awesome, especially at the end. And we'll get into spoilers now. Obviously, spoiler alert.
Yeah,
but,
spoiler alert.
He's the killer. He's John Carver, and if you had told me before I watched this movie that Patrick Dempsey, who plays the sheriff, was going to be the killer reveal, I would have rolled my eyes. But he does such a good job when he's revealed that I don't even mind it. I think it's fine, and it's just perfect for the tone of the movie. And he with that Boston accent, I mean, it's just great. It's great. So I loved him. I thought he was a standout. I thought our main Jessica, played by Nell Verlacki, was fine, was good. I believe one of my critiques last year when we talked about this movie was I wish she had a little bit more screen time to kind of breathe a little bit, especially her relationship with her father, played by Rick Hoffman. I thought he did wonderful. I wanted to see more of him as well, but it was a big cast and he had to juggle a big cast. I thought he did fine. I thought maybe it could have been honed in a little bit, but overall, I mean, this is just a blast. You have a ton of kills, a ton of set pieces, a ton of sequences to kind of go back to, and it's just a fun time. I really do enjoy this movie a lot.
Yeah, I pretty much co-signed everything you said. I love the trailer for Thanksgiving from 2007, and I like that grindhouse feel, like the reels are literally like burning up and breaking. So I wanted like that vibe for the movie, but it's not commercially viable to have a movie like that. I mean, we're already niche enough. Like, everyone's not like us and gonna go after Thanksgiving dinner and go watch a slasher movie. So we're already niche enough for like the general public. But I wanted that, like, because that trailer went hard, like to the point where like there was shit. I'm like, okay, like they did paid homage to the trampoline scene, but if you remember the original trailer, she literally like she goes on it. You know, we got some Terrifier stuff going on with that scene in the original trailer. So it's pretty gnarly. But I think that I ended up being pleasantly surprised that it ended up being a throwback really to 90s slashers. It's really like a over-the-top, campy, cheesy mixture of I Know What You Did Last Summer and Scream. And, you know, those two movies are so special to me. This just camps it up. I would agree with you that the weakest part about this movie, I mean, the story is not anything groundbreaking, but again, we're talking about a Thanksgiving cheesy slasher, so it doesn't need to be. But I will agree that the characters could have been developed a little bit more. They're kind of weak sauce. I mean, and anyone who knows that, I mean, Patrick Dempsey, if you watch the movie, he's not given much to do throughout the beginning of the movie, so you kind of know immediately, like, okay, that's our killer. So we're ready for him to ham it up at the end. I knew right away. I mean, the opening, I'm like, this is Patrick Dempsey's movie. He's the killer. But yeah, I think the weak part of the movie is the characters. But other than that, it's just a fun movie. I mean, it's just trying to entertain you. It's not scary. I would have wished for a couple more chase scenes with our slasher movie, but it does, even though it's campy, there are some moments of pure tension, specifically the stepmom scene. We'll get into it, but I think that is a really, really great tension-filled, suspenseful scene. But I think if we maybe had a couple more moments like that, or maybe another suspenseful scene like that, and a chase scene, I would have really been like, hell yeah. But this just trying to be a fun, campy, you know, movie that's gonna entertain you while you're stuffed from your Thanksgiving dinner, and that's all I want. And I'm excited that we're gonna have a sequel, and I can't wait to see Eli Roth come up with more gnarly kills. So I think this is a blast. Again, it's not groundbreaking or anything epic, but it's a fun addition to holiday horror, and it's finally we have a worthy Thanksgiving slasher horror movie. So yeah, I'm all about it. I'm all in on the camp and cheese, and like you said, the kills are over the top and fun. Like, you're gonna be like, ew, but you're also gonna laugh at them, and that's the kind of vibe I want for this like Thanksgiving cheesy slasher. So I think Eli Roth, you know, knew the assignment, and I think he delivered, and I can't wait to see him go do more. But maybe for the sequel, just give me some chase scenes, give me a little more attention. I want to be scared too. So that's my only critique, really, the characters in that. But yeah, this movie is a blast. I fucking love it.
Eli Roth knew what he was doing. He knew that the horror genre was starved for a Thanksgiving type movie, a slasher. I mean, he just focused on the vibes of the holiday, the kills, the set pieces. So I mean, we could critique the story and even the characters, but
really,
it's
like,
really
are we gonna
like,
critique the story
that's
for this?
not what this movie's about. Yeah, exactly.
And he knows that too. You know what I mean?
Like, he didn't try to reinvent the wheel. He said, "I'm just gonna make this movie. It's gonna make a lot of money because there is no Thanksgiving themed anything in horror. Pretty much. I mean, we have like your." You know, Thanksgiving and stuff, a couple lower budget, but
like super low
in terms
budget,
of like major releases. I mean, this is it. So he knew that people were
so
going to come out.
Pictures released this movie.
He made it for $15 million. I mean, nice lean budget for something that's a major release, and yeah, he just killed it. I will kind of disagree with you. I think it has enough suspense and enough chase scenes. I mean, we get the diner scene. We get the scene with Manny, the security guard with his cat in the apartment. That was pretty cool. That was pretty suspenseful. We get the school scene, or not the school. Yeah, the school scene that it was in a school. I mean,
The lead
could have
chased a little
could
bit.
have been
yeah.
longer. I agree. It could have been longer, but it was still there. So I think we get enough sprinkled in. But I would agree with you. The stepmother scene is definitely the highlight
Awesome.
in terms of
the whole
suspense
movie.
and
Yeah.
John Carver just being scary. Him just kind of chasing her through the house was pretty fun,
Yeah.
and you know, creeping and stalking. So that was cool. But yeah, let's just get into it.
Oh yeah.
Let's go. I mean, this opening, freaking Black Friday on a Thanksgiving, very hot
As
topic.
someone who worked in retail, like I was a manager in retail for years, and like this is fucking people are
PTSD,
crazy.
yeah.
So I can attest to that. And just for a PSA, people, like the sales, it's a marketing gimmick. Like these sales are going on throughout the entire weekend. So like, don't leave your families in order to go wait in line. Like it's a marketing gimmick. You'll get your sales. Don't worry. And they're not that good of deals, so it's okay, people.
yeah.
But I love the opening scene. If you it's a pure homage to Halloween, where Patrick Dempsey, you know, we have the POV shot of someone walking up to a door, and you hear breathing, and then once the guy opens the door, it's Patrick Dempsey. So anyone who's a horror vet knows, like Eli Roth is showing us our killer right away when he's opening. So I thought that was a clever homage. But I like the setup. You know, a guy's going to his brother's house, and you know, that's going to come in handy later, but you know, there's something weird going on with the brother's wife and him. You get some weird vibes. But then we go to Right Mart in preparation for the Black Friday sale. It's just hilarious, this opening scene. It's so over the top, but it's an enhanced version of what happens when people go out on Black Friday. I think it's fucking a riot and hilarious and so over the top, but I love it.
People want their waffle irons, man. It's they're willing to shed blood.
Get their
kill.
waffle irons and pizza ovens.
Yeah. I thought this was a pretty cool way to, I know the characters we said are not the strongest, but in terms of introducing our core group of kids, of teenagers, I thought this was a unique way. They kind of just throw us right into that SUV. They're excited, they're partying, and they get to the store and they're kind of just causing havoc, and then chaos ensues like pretty much right away. And I thought this was a way to like talk about setting the tone. I mean,
Yes.
once everything just gets insane, I mean, you just have stuff going on all over the place. People just getting trampled and people getting slit and necks breaking and everything. I mean, it's insane.
Getting scalped. It's crazy. So anyone who like isn't like a movie buff or a horror movie buff, when you see the opening scene, like Eli Roth is letting you know what kind of movie you're in for. And you're either going to take it or leave it, but you know you're in for a bloody, gory blast, but it's not going to take itself seriously. So I like that he lets the audience know that right off the bat, like what we're going to get throughout the movie.
That in terms of the gore and the campiness, but also in terms of the writing, I thought, like I remember watching this opening and hearing the writing and the jokes and stuff and laughing along and saying, okay, I'm in for a pretty fun time. It's going to be a fun time the rest of the movie, because I could tell from the writing that it was they were hitting, with all their jokes, especially, again, shout out to Tim Dillon, who played Manny. He's a comedian, a stand-up comedian. He did awesome. He was
hilarious.
Great. Every line he said was just so hilarious in this movie. I couldn't get enough of it. And then obviously his death scene is iconic for a different reason, but we'll get into that.
Oh, we will get to that for sure. But just another shout out when Sheriff Newland goes to his brother Collins, Amanda and Mitch Collins' house. There's the grandma's there, Lynn Griffin, and we covered Black Christmas, the OG, a couple years ago, and Lynn Griffin is actually Claire in the original Black Christmas, for some trivia right there. So she's sitting at the dinner in the opening scene. So I thought that was a cool, Eli Roth giving some horror icons their due, who did it back in the 70s. They're the reason why he has this gig. So I thought that was, I like stuff like that. It makes my heart warm.
Yeah.
So I like that.
Yeah. Oh, Eli
But yeah,
Roth,
all around great start. Yeah.
He's a legend in the genre. He loves the genre, and you could tell he loves, the history of the genre. So he's definitely going to take care of us horror fans and stuff.
Oh,
so, yeah.
So in the beginning, a couple people die. And again, the most important one is Amanda Collins, who is, Gina Gershon. I wish she had a bigger role because she's an icon, but great death. But it has major consequences for the rest of the movie. And we also, I'm really going to be bad with the names because, again, my weakness for this movie is the characters are pretty forgettable. But Bobby, Jessica's boyfriend, he's like the star athlete. He gets his whole like arm is fucking like just destroyed in that opening scene. And then after that it cuts to black, we realize that like he hasn't been seen for a year. So, red herring central right there. So that's just a couple important things that's happened for the opening scene, and setting up the mystery is setting up the fun of the movie.
Yeah, they're setting it up. I mean, total throwbacks to Scream. You have Ryan, who's the new boyfriend. I mean, he's sketchy. He's beefing with Bobby the whole movie.
Oh my god.
I mean, it was almost too much. It was almost like I'm almost sitting there like, I'm okay, guys. Like, we know what's going on.
Like tiptoed that line a little bit.
Yeah, they did, but it was okay. It was fine.
No, I agree 100%. And I think that the stepmom, she's like comes off like she's supposed to be the bitch to Jessica, but kudos to her, because when we do eventually get to her sequence later in the movie, I'm like rooting for her to survive. So I think that actress, I want to name drop her. She did very good. Because you kind of hate her, but you kind of like at the end you're like a Karen Cliche. Is that her name? Yeah, Kathleen. I think that she played her part well for the first half of the movie, and then when she got to her sequence, I'm like, she's really just fucking a woman trying to just living life and trying to get by, and she does really well. I think she's smart for most of her.
Yeah, I think it was really well directed. So no matter who you threw in that scene, you're gonna root for it. I do think that was kind of a questionable choice to have
that she was
the
one?
weird the stepmother we barely know kind of be the main chase stalk scene of the movie. I did think that was a weird, for sure. Interesting choice. That it could have been one of the main characters, like from the group or whatever, but it doesn't take away from the scene itself. I mean, he directed the hell out of it, and you know, when she gets stuck in the oven, man, I was like freaking out. I was like, oh my god, I can't imagine
that poor woman.
Like,
because she was stealthy. She was fucking like, we'll get to that scene, but she was like, damn, how you moving, girl? Like, how you hiding like that? It's all like you're making it happen. You're really fighting for your life here. I like it.
Yeah, no, it was a really well directed scene. It was just kind of a weird choice. It was a weird choice to have her, like,
I have a feeling that was like, I'm like, I could have had the Addison Rae character. Like, that would have been a cool scene for her to be in. But I feel like the studio was like, yo, she's famous with the Gen Z. Like, let's have her stick around for the sequel. Let's have her live. And come back for the sequel. So I feel like
probably
we had to have some people survive. Because I feel like that was a prime time for like a Helen Shivers, Sarah Michelle Gellar-esque death, and that would have been perfect for Addison Rae's
especially
character.
Because Addison Rae did a fine job. She did not stand out at all for being like out of place. Like she felt like she fit. She
blended in with the crew.
Yeah, she did.
I didn't know that she was like this big star until like after I watched the movie, and I was like looking up reviews and stuff. I'm like, oh, I had no idea.
Yeah. No, so I was impressed. I was like, oh, okay, good for her. So she wasn't just you could tell she took it seriously, and she's a decent actress. So I want to see her in more stuff. That was it was good. But I agree. It would have been it probably would have fit better if it was her. But you're right. I could definitely see that being like a studio play where they came in and said,
studio
no, we need to switch this off, and we need to have someone else die in that scene.
Because you know what I mean? I'm like, it's like the Julie James and Helen Shivers best friends, like one of them's gonna go, and then it's like, oh, that would have been such a good opportunity for the audience. Like, holy shit, they're killing her off. But I get it, gotta bring him back next year for more. But
we have a decent cast returning. So we have our main Jessica, Gabby, we have both boyfriends survive. Bobby and Ryan. The only ones who really die are Scuba and Yulia.
Scuba.
They're the two mains that
die.
They're
the two friend groups,
and then, obviously the stepmother, but everyone else
and I love that Rick Hoffman, he lives too, so we'll get him in the sequel too.
I know.
I'm like, hell yeah.
Oh, Eli Roth's got to take care of his buddy Rick. I mean, he's got to get him a paycheck for this next movie too. You know that.
And we should, disclose that Rick is the owner of the store that the tragedy happened, the Right Mart. And his daughter is obviously Jessica, the final girl. So he's really in hot water the following year, saying that he only had 2 security guards. He only out for money, blah, blah, blah. So he has a big role in the movie because he's the owner of the store.
What did you think of his role and his character? He surprised me a bit because they had that one, he's supposed to be like the sleazeball, bottom line guy, but he has a couple moments, especially with Jessica, his daughter, where like he has that heartfelt apology to her about how he brought in the stepmother without considering her feelings after her mother died. I thought he played it really well. It's almost as if he wrote a bigger part for him, but he just couldn't fit it all. So there was little pieces here and there. So I really want to see that explored in the second movie more. Like maybe they can, trauma bond after this first movie and kind of explore that relationship more, because I think he did a really good job. Rick Hoffman is so good at playing that like dirty villain, but then like he can switch and just be like really heartfelt in an instant. I think he's really good at that. I watched that show Suits. He's really good at that in Suits too. He plays a great character.
I agree 100%. I mean, in most of his other movies, he is these ball like douchebag.
Yeah.
And I think that Eli Roth, I'm gonna flip it a little bit. Like, he is the rich owner, but it's also like he's not doing anything wrong. Like, that's what any of us would do if we owned a business. Like, we're just trying to live. I mean, I would hire more security, but like you said, I think he shows after that opening scene, they're like, we're gonna switch it. Like, he does have humanity, he does care, and he cares about his daughter. So I think it was smart. I wish maybe we got a little bit more of him in the first half, but I think that I'm happy that we got him at the dinner scene in the finale, because he was needed there. So I think that was a great, like, role reversal for him, and I'm happy that Eli Roth, was like, oh, he has chops. He can be like play different type of characters. So I like that, and I'm excited that we'll get to see more of that hopefully in the sequel.
Yeah, that dinner scene when when they break free and he's screaming at her, Jessica to run.
Yeah, he did good.
He's like, run! Like, he was really good. I was
well,
like,
when
damn.
he's like throwing up through the gag too, when you see the the turkey,
his wife,
his wife. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
he's awesome.
He's awesome. I love him. He's great in everything I've seen, for sure.
Do you want to get to the first set piece a year later when the waitress Lizzie is killed?
Yes. So I'm really bummed about this. Did we see this together? Did we go together?
I don't think so.
No. Okay.
I saw it in theaters. But
I saw it with Jackie.
I
saw it in theaters, and really bummed because I was literally about to piss my pants, and I had to go. I had to run to the bathroom, so I didn't see this scene in theaters. I came back. I thought I'd be able to make it, but I just went at the wrong time. I don't know what I was thinking. I should have went when the friend group was talking. Because I went towards the end of that conversation. I should have went in the beginning because I wouldn't have missed much. But I went and I missed her. I saw her death, but I didn't see any of the buildup. So I've seen the movie a few times now. Since obviously, and I got that full experience. But I'm really bummed out that I never saw that in the theaters, because that was like our first creepy thriller set piece that was in the movie. So it would have been cool to see how the audience was reacting, but I never got that.
Yeah, it was alright. And I think I saw this movie in theaters like the day before Thanksgiving. So, that week a lot of people are off, so it was pretty crowded theater, so it was hilarious. So I'm just watching everyone's reaction. But, she's like the snotty waitress who was one of the people who's like fighting for the pizza oven or waffle maker in the beginning. So it was just, I love how Eli Roth, first of all, the scene when, I love how he puts her head under the water. I'm like, okay, that's pretty tame. But then it's like, no. We're going to put her face against the freezer after that, after she's wet. And then when she pulls off, I'm like, oh, her skin's feeling it's so good. And then I love that we have a nod to like today's technology where she's bleeding and she can't swipe up her phone. I almost pissed my pants in that scene because it's so true. Like, what would happen when someone's trying to call 911 on the phone? Like, they can't, there's no Face ID. It's not working. So I thought that was great. Her final death was like ridiculously over the top. The dumps are like hokey to the point I'm like, all right,
it was very
stupid and
hokey. Yeah.
But whatever, I'm in for the ride. Like, everything before that was great, but the final death, I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. Like, didn't even make sense, like, physics wise.
No.
Like, it was just so unbelievable. But it was cool. It was cool effects. It was cool special effects.
It was.
So,
And I did love the nod to when she's walking outside to go to the car, when he's in the car already. That's clearly a nod to I Know What You Did Last Summer, when Ryan Felipe leaves the gym and the man with the hook is in the car and chases him. So I love my nods to my 90s slashers. So that was great.
Yeah, and then this is kind of our introduction to John Carver and kind of his motives. So he creates that Instagram account and he's tagging all the friends. He puts the lower half of the body onto the storefront, which I thought was funny for all to see. And I thought this was a pretty good opening stalk scene. I thought this was a pretty cool diner at nighttime. I thought the waitress has like almost an all-timer dumb moment where she's safely in that room, that storage room. She leaves to go to her car. She grabs her purse like
and
nothing
she doesn't
happens.
have her keys. She knows she doesn't have her keys.
Yeah, like,
what are you
doing, lady? Like, wipe your phone off and call the police. Like, why are you leaving that secured room? I thought that was so funny. Especially because he's outside just waiting for her in the car. Like he knows,
And she knows that. Like
he
she
knows that
like,
she's gonna be dumb enough to just leave the fucking diner. Like, it's just so ridiculous. It's so funny. But I
That's the
enjoy
fun of
it.
this movie,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
do
would
like the
I
John
would dare
Carver
say
name.
that this
I love
is
that
the hokiest scene of all the
It is.
death scenes.
It is the hokiest death scene for sure, because the other ones, I mean, the comedian death scene is pretty hokey too, but this one, just with the dumpster, is like so over the top and ridiculous.
Yeah, I know.
He's the next death scene, though, I believe. Correct? Manny?
Yes, Manny,
So
because
that-
he's
I mean,
got,
we
he's
get-
got
we
his
get-
head. He puts his head on the plate, and that's the
The
second
plate.
victim. Yeah.
I love that he's setting up the dinner table with the bodies. I think that's fucking genius, by
Oh,
the
it's
way.
awesome because you get like again, he's posting the pictures and he's got the name cards of everyone, and he's setting the table and he's doing the puns and the captions. So you know this movie is building up to this epic scene where they're all going to be around the table. So then
Oh, yeah.
when
Oh,
it
yeah.
does finally happen, it's such a great payoff. So I love the way he built that.
Yeah, that was good. That was very good setup when they're getting like the Instagram messages after every death. It's like, and they're like, oh. I love how the reaction's like, oh my god. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, this is where there's people dead. Go to the, like, this is crazy.
Yeah, I know.
Like, their reactions crack me up.
I know. I know.
But if you want to get into Manny's death scene, I think that was pretty hilarious. He's trying to catch a flight, and you know, the cat's there, and he gets fucking decapitated. I love how he gets stabbed. My favorite part about that scene though is that John Carver, because I love animals, and my favorite part of the scene is that John Carver, he doesn't kill Dewey the cat. And again, the name Dewey is very special to me. One of my favorite characters, and my dog's literally named Dewey. But he feeds the cat instead of killing it before he leaves, and I love Eli Roth for doing that. I like had a smile on my face. That was heartfelt. I love that part so much.
My favorite part, actually, as a fellow cat owner, my favorite part was when Manny knows someone's in his apartment and he's asking Dewey where the killer
Dewey's
is.
just looking.
And Dewey's in the kitchen, and Dewey, like, you know, gives a look in the kitchen
Yep.
to make it seem like, oh, the killer's in the kitchen, but no, he's
He's like, nope.
right by. He's
He's
right
like on the
underneath him.
counter, like.
Yeah. Like, oh, fucking Dewey faked him out because he was under the table the whole time. I thought that
I
was
love
funny.
that.
Yeah.
And I just love how he like pets the cat and feeds him and leaves. I'm like,
Oh, yeah, I mean,
this
the
is
crowd
pure
went-
awesome camp.
The crowd went wild when that
Yeah,
happened.
they
I mean,
clapped.
that
They
was-
clapped him. They're
yeah.
like, "Yay, the cat lives!"
Yeah, that was great.
Fuck Manny, save the cat.
Yeah. No, he was great. He was a great character, Manny.
How do you feel about I think their names are Evan and Gabby. How do you feel about them getting like abducted like pretty early in the movie and then saved for the finale? Because they're not killed, they're just taken off screen. And that in the high school scene when Jessica's chased, them two are just like kind of like
yeah, I mean, I don't
exit
think it's
stage
I don't
'cause they're
think
captured.
it's too early. I mean, we get a decent amount of kills. So we get
Yeah.
the cheerleader kill and the
oh
guy
yeah, we get the, with the
from the other high
douchebag guy
school.
from the beginning.
Yeah. So we get that sequence. I believe it happens like maybe halfway through, I would say.
Yeah,
They get
about.
abducted. I mean, I didn't have a problem with it. Again, this cast is so big that it was almost necessary for him to kind of make the movie a little bit leaner. And that's kind of what I wanted to get to. My next point. I didn't cover this in my overall thoughts, but I do think the movie really finds its stride the second half. And I think it's just, again, firing on all cylinders. Pretty much starting with that stepmother scene, because you get the oven scene with the stepmother, and then you go right to the parade. You get the parade scene, which was
love
awesome,
the
and he's in
parade.
the clown costume. That was awesome. And then you go from the parade scene, and it just goes right into that final act, you know,
Mhm.
and the final act is amazing. I mean, you get the dinner scene, you get the chase scene, you get the reveal. So, I mean, but starting from that oven scene, it's just nonstop enjoyment. Before that, it's still fine. He sets the movie up fine enough, but I really think the second half of this movie is really what takes it over the top for me and makes it kind of like that yearly must watch, because you get more of the theming, you get the holiday parade, which I think was essential to have in a movie like this,
Right.
to really drive home that theming. And then you get the dinner scene as well. Obviously he's setting the table and he's got the big centerpiece turkey on the table. I mean, dude, not to jump around too much, and we don't have to get to it yet, but
We can. No,
that
we can,
scene, that dinner scene, man, I just, was in the theater and I had the biggest smile on my face when John Carver is like talking and he's doing his monologue and everyone's sitting around the table. I was like, I can't believe that this is happening.
I love the monologue.
It was so good.
It's just the perfect one. I agree with you. It's the perfect 1-2 punch of having the Kathleen stepmom scene, which is, to me, like, that's the pure best sequence of suspense, followed by the campy dinner scene, which is like the two things that I want the most in this movie. And the fact that they're back to back, to me, just makes, like you said, it makes the movie for me. And I think that those are the two best sequences in the movie. When you have them back to back like that, it really props up the movie overall, because the cutscenes before that are fun, but this really like this is awesome. Like, and I think he was smart to do it back to back, because he knows like this is the meat and gravy, if you want to say, for Thanksgiving, and he really props it up with those two scenes back to back.
Not only is the stepmother scene his scariest scene, where you really get to see, like, you know, John Carver be spooky, but right in between that, you get that parade scene as well. And that's the scene where you really realize, like, this guy's not to be fucked with. I mean, he's able to. He's got those canisters and stuff. He's got the I mean, who's decapitates someone in the middle of a parade, broad daylight, and gets away with it? So it was almost
I do think that was a cool switch up, that he was in a different mask in the parade.
Yeah. No, I agree. So that was a good sequence to kind of go back to back to back. I agree. I just love that, going backwards a little bit. I just love how Sheriff Newton is asking Jessica and her friends for leads on people who were at the mart, the what's it called, the store the previous year, because he's trying to catch the killer, when really he's looking for leads because he needs to find out who these people are so he can kill them. It's just so brilliant. I love it so much.
Did you know that, like, pretty much once the movie started, like, you know, Patrick Dempsey, did you, like, know, like, oh, he's the killer? Like, how did you feel with the mystery of it all? Because they kind of, like, played the boyfriends or the red herrings and all that. Like, what was your vibe with the, you know, whodunit of it all?
Yeah, I mean, I'll never say that I, like, 100% know, because a director could always just, like, fuck with you on purpose, but I pretty much knew. I mean, once it was revealed, once they started playing into the boyfriends, especially, I knew it wasn't them. I was like, this is too obvious. Too obvious. It's definitely the sheriff. And then when you see him knocked out at the end, I was like, okay, like, now they're just drawing it out. Now we just need to get to the reveal, because now it's, you know, we know what's going on.
I knew the whole time, because it's like Patrick Dempsey, like, he's not going to be in a movie just to show up.
Yeah.
And once you see him knocked out, I'm like, oh, it's like 120% confirmed that he is the killer in this movie.
Is he confirmed for the next movie? Is he going to be
I don't think he's confirmed. I have a feeling, because it's the same production company that does Scream, so I have a feeling he's probably ironing out a deal to do, like, Scream 7 and Thanksgiving 2, like, get his money back to back. But I'm pretty sure that, I mean, we don't see his body, so he'll be back for the sequel.
They got to start filming soon. I mean, we're a year away.
It comes out before Scream 7, so he's going to be filming. He's going to be busy, Patrick Dempsey. I think this comes out in November 2025, and then Scream comes out in February 2026. So
I mean, there's a couple different avenues they can go. They can have him, like, kind of be like a cameo in the beginning of the movie, and then they can have a different killer. You know, I don't know if they're going to keep him as the killer. Maybe they can go the Scream route and have different reveals for different extras. I don't know what they're going to do, so it's going to be interesting.
It's definitely going to be. I think there's going to be him. It's not going to be just him. Like, there's going to be another mystery. There's
going
to be another killer for sure.
Yeah,
but he's going to be a part of it. I mean, he might be the main character of this one. He might be like the opening death of Scream and just not have much screen time in Scream. You never know. But he's definitely going to be a part of Thanksgiving too. What did you think of Yulia, her death scene at her house? I love with the corn on the cob when they put the things in her ear. I'm like, oh, that's
this scene pissed me off, because I always root for characters that are super smart, and I really wanted her and her father to kind of just fly away to Florida. I love that he just shows
they were
up
ready
at the school, and he's like, Yulia, come on, we're going to Florida. He is not fucking around, and I just love that. I love the line that Scuba says, where he's like, that's the most conversation I've ever had with a man.
I know, that was pretty funny.
Because I think he's dating Yulia.
Yeah, they're dating. Yeah. And that was very, again, like, it's very poorly established.
Yeah.
I mean, the friend group's pretty poorly established, but yeah, they're boyfriend, girlfriend.
Yeah.
I just love, after him and Jessica arrive at the house, and poor Yulia, she's, like, disemboweled by the saw. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember the guy's name. It's really, I don't remember the guy's name. Her boyfriend. That's how bad the characters are. But,
Scuba?
Scuba. Yeah, Scuba. Okay, yeah, how can I forget Scuba? But he's like holding her body and her like intestines are flowing. He's like, what do I do?
What do I do? He's
What
just
do I
in
do? I'm
shock.
like, there's really nothing to. I get what they're going for a shot, but I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
it's so campy. I love it.
Yeah. No, I liked it too.
No, but I was upset for her. I was like, I know. I was sad for her. She had a pretty, she went through it.
Yeah. No, I agree. It was definitely probably the second hokiest, I would say. It was pretty funny with the like you said, the picks in her ears.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
So yeah,
That hurt.
yeah.
Oh, that hurt me.
Uh-huh.
And I love how, I mean, after that, again, like after that, you have the parade, and then you go right to Kathleen. And I love, we'll just get into the Thanksgiving. He's literally, John Carver is preparing Kathleen to be cooked. Like, he's literally like turkey bastering her. Like, I'm like, this is fucking so over the top. I love it. He's like putting salt on her and everything. I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah, you're like, this
that
guy
we
is
know.
deranged. He's not doing this for anyone else but himself. I mean, he didn't have an audience at that point, and he didn't think that she was awake, so he's just doing that because he really wanted to make a nice meal.
He's preparing his turkey.
Yeah, I know.
But I mean, that was like, come on, that was chef's kiss. Like, you have to have a Thanksgiving turkey.
Once he
and
grabbed
that's,
the pepper
Kathleen.
grinder, that took it over the top for me. When he's pepper grinding up her leg, I was like, this is just Eli Roth, you're insane.
But again, to her credit, like, she plays along until he like turns his back and he's like, this is my chance. And she really does try everything to get away. It's just unfortunately she's in a closed space, and he gets the better of her. And then when she goes in the oven, I'm like, she was a bitch throughout the movie. I'm like, she didn't deserve that. Like, that was rough. Her getting fucking like
I know.
roasted in that oven.
Yeah.
You're like, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. And I think that if he did pick the correct person, besides, I mean, I don't think Yulia deserves what she got, but he picked the correct other person to die, Evan, the boyfriend who was like filming, Addison Rae's boyfriend who was like filming everything. I think he was the right choice to get bludgeoned to death when, asking everyone what they're thankful for at the dinner table. I'm like, it was time for him to go. So I'm happy that he's the one who went out of the friend group besides Yulia.
I agree. Yeah, he needed to go. He was an obvious choice for a brutal death scene. Yeah,
primetime death.
Yeah, I'm surprised he
but
didn't go sooner.
everyone else lived. Yeah, because Doug lives too, Yulia's boyfriend. Right? He lives, right?
Doug?
Yeah. Is that his name? Yulia's.
Scuba?
I can't remember her. Scuba. Yeah, Scuba. Sorry, Scuba. What's his real name?
Does Scuba live?
Scuba lived though, right? I think he lives. I'm pretty sure.
Why am I
Scuba
blanking
lives.
on what happened to him?
Me too. Exactly. That's bad because the
it
characters
is pretty bad. I just watched this movie yesterday too.
I just watched it today. I'm just like,
Well, because he's not
I'm
in the
pretty
finale, is he?
I'm pretty sure he gets knocked. Like, he helps Jessica escape. And
I think
then,
he's in the
John
hospital.
Carver follows her. Yeah, he lives.
He comes
definitely
back with Gabby.
lives. Oh, at the end. At the end, he's with Gabby.
remember?
Yeah, they live. So
and
he
she's
lives.
like,
So
"Oh,
it's
I thought
Gabby-
you were in the hospital." Yeah.
It's Gabby, Scuba, the two boyfriends, and Jessica. So we have 5 characters right there that, we have victims ready for the sequel. So we have a lot of surviving characters.
Yeah, plus
I think we could have knocked off 1 or 2 more.
Plus Rick Hoffman, plus obviously Patrick
Right.
Dempsey. So I mean, that's 7 main characters that survive a slasher film. I mean, that's
He 100%.
that's like
survives
Scream
Scuba.
6 level. I mean, that's insane amount of characters. Yeah,
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
yeah, they gotta do something. I mean, we'll see.
I think the opening scene should be a surviving character being killed for sure.
Yeah,
you gotta
I mean,
narrow
he's
that
got to
down.
get his revenge, right? I mean, he escaped.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He's got to finish the job, so he's definitely going to go after them. Whether he kills someone and then dies in the process, I hope he's in the whole movie again, because I
Me
mean,
too.
I hope that he kind of like puts his stamp on this franchise and it becomes like his franchise. But we'll see. I mean, you never know. He's such a big star that you never know with contract negotiations and stuff.
Yeah, I've heard he's a little bit of a diva too, so who knows?
Yeah, he's got
I
his
just love
money.
his
He
line.
doesn't need
He-
this. He
yeah.
just does it for fun.
I just love like he in the monologue. He's like, "This year there will be no leftovers." I swear to God, I fucking almost fell out of my seat because his delivery is so good.
I know.
love that line. I love his monologue. Obviously, the motive is the beginning. He was cheating. That wife was cheating, and she was pregnant, and she died. So he's blaming everybody for her death. Blah 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 blah. His unborn child. The death of his child. All that stuff. It's hokey, stupid. But again, I just think that Patrick Dempsey really took note of the campy scream monologues, and he just went with it over the top in the Thanksgiving finale. He was the right choice for this movie.
Yeah, for sure. I was really excited to see this movie because of him, and I'm really glad that they cast him because he just did awesome. Isn't he, let me just verify this. Isn't he from, yeah, he is. He's from New England. He's from that region, so I think a lot of people thought that accent was kind of faked by him.
Correct.
But it was pretty authentic because that's where he grew up, so I think I remember seeing an interview, like, press for this movie, and him saying like he had a lot of fun exploring, that accent because that's kind of like his roots and stuff, and he felt at home. So I think that's another reason why he did this movie probably too, because it's kind of like right in his wheelhouse geography wise.
And again, right there, that's kind of heartwarming, like from his perspective, that he's like going back to his like literal roots.
Mm-hmm.
And I do remember seeing that, and I think it's funny because he's like, I've had to actually hide that accent in my Hollywood career, and now I get to go back with it. And it's funny because I watched like some like reaction channels, and they reacted to this movie, and they're like, "Oh my god, that accent is too over the top." But little do they know that that's literally his accent. So I think it's kind of funny.
I'm sure he played it up for the movie.
He did, but
it is his real accent. So yeah, it is. It's funny. I don't know if he actually talks like that anymore, but it is how he was brought up. Yeah. So,
but I think it's fitting for the movie to play up an accent like that.
This kind of movie. Yeah.
So I mean, I like that he handed up. I mean, kudos to him.
Yeah. No, I agree.
But I think the finale was pretty, it was cool with the whole like blow up turkey. You have a blow up turkey, the fucking inflatable thing. It's silly fun. We have a lot of survivors. Jessica, I'm assuming, is going to be the lead of the sequel. I like that we also, the more I watch this, the more I'm like, this really does take a lot of note from I Know What You Did Last Summer, because her end scene is also a nightmare sequence, and that's how the first two I Know What You Did Last Summer movies end, with Julie James having a nightmare sequence. So, and it's kind of identical. Like, you get a nice pop out at the end, and that's exactly how this movie ends as well.
I'm not super jazzed on what's probably going to happen in the sequel is there's going to be that little love triangle again. I don't want a love triangle. We already did that. It's going to happen though, because think about it. She survived that final attack with what's his name? With Manny,
the new guy,
Bobby. I'm sorry,
Manny, Bobby. But she's with the new guy. But she's
with Ryan still, so that's going to cause some sort of weird triangle, which I'm not really like super jazzed for. I hope one of the boyfriends
have
dies
to get killed off early. In the movie or something.
Know, yeah, because that stuff.
I agree.
They're just not memorable enough characters for me to really care about.
And
we
kind of already explored that. Like, we already had the whole like tough guy, like, be the love triangle on this one a little bit. So I know we
talked about her very, very briefly last year, but what did you think of Nell Verlacky's portrayal of Jessica? She's a newcomer. She's been in a couple little things, but this is kind of like her big breakout on the silver screen. What did you think of her? I thought she did well. I thought she did well for what she had to work with. They didn't really give her like any huge scream queen moments or final girl moments. She was always kind of, she had the moment in the office at the end, but then she was with Bobby.
Yes.
But I feel like they could have really, explored her character a little bit more. But I thought she did pretty well. I was actually surprised with her performance.
I'm actually happy that you brought this up, because I wanted to talk about her more. I think that the script did her no favors. They didn't write her to be a memorable final girl. But I naturally gravitated towards her throughout the movie, if that makes sense. And I thought that she did what she could with this script. And I was naturally I care about this girl. She's killing it for what she was given. So I think that she did a fine job. And I'm actually excited. Again, this is a parallel, because a lot of people had issues with Jennifer Love Hewitt in the first I Know What You Did Last Summer. But I think she really took it home. And I still know. And I'm hoping the same happens with the Jessica character, and she levels up as a final girl in the sequel. But I agree. I don't think the script did her any favors, but I think that her just charisma alone, I'm feeling this girl. So I think that she did what she could, and I liked her. I liked her a lot. She doesn't have any banger moments, but she has one-liner in the ending. I can't remember what it was, but she has a cool cheesy one-liner. I'm like, oh, you delivered, girl. You delivered on that. So I liked her. I'm looking forward to see more of her, I should say.
I know we just covered Maxine, and this is no pun intended, but I think that actress has the X factor when it comes to kind of
she does.
that girl next door vibe, final girl. You know, you just naturally gravitate to her. I think she has that aura and that presence. So I agree. Yeah, the script really didn't do her anything. I mean, I'm sure when they wrote the script, that character does not jump out at the page at you. But I really think she brought a sense of kind of, like I said, girl next door. You can kind of relate to her, little humanity. You know, you feel bad for her with the whole stepmother situation. I thought the scenes with her and her father were pretty well done. So I think she did enough to kind of make the performance memorable enough. And I'm excited to see her in the sequel. I hope she's our final girl in the sequel too. I think she deserves it. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think she has a lot of potential to like level up as a modern final girl if they give her the material to work with.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's
fun, campy movie.
Pretty much it. Yeah.
It's a fun slasher movie. Check it out, guys. If you want fun and some blood and a whodunit slasher, I mean, you can't go wrong with this one. But don't expect anything too serious. Get in on the joke with the movie because it's trying to have fun.
If you like special effects, if you like Patrick Dempsey, if you like holiday horror slasher, I mean, you can't go wrong with this movie. I would find a hard time. I feel like it would be a hard time to find someone who enjoys campy slashers and doesn't enjoy this one. I mean, it may not be for everyone, but you have to at least respect it and respect Eli Roth. I think this is...
for sure.
We'll get to a ranking eventually of Eli Roth.
I was going to just ask you.
But this is definitely one of my favorites from him. I'm not going to go and give a number, but I said this is Eli Roth kind of firing on all cylinders and putting it all together. So I really kudos to him for sure.
Yeah, we have to put a note that I really do want to rank his movies because people are so divisive about them. But I'm not going to give it away. But this one is definitely not in my lower tier.
No,
but it's not my favorite either.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, that is it. So let's get to our moments. We will do the never split up moments before our score. Why don't you go first, Ant, since you won the poll? I'll let you pick your moment first.
Okay, cool. Again, just a reminder, guys, our never split up moment is pretty much what we think is the dumbest moment in the movie or whatever we're covering. If we're doing a ranking, like whose ranking you agree with more. If it's a movie, it's pretty much a character, a dumb moment, a dumb decision they make that leads to either their demise or maybe the villains make a stupid decision. So it's just a dumb moment in the movie. But you actually said it, and I'm going to go with Lizzie, the waitress. She's dumb, man.
Yeah.
Why is she leaving? She's literally safe and locked in somewhere, and she has a cell phone. Like, if she didn't have a phone, I would give it more, okay, she has nowhere to call, but she has a phone. She just has to wipe it off. Like, breathe. You have a shirt. Wipe it off, call the cops, and wait. But she goes out into danger knowing that he's out there. She didn't even hit him. It's not like she hit him and knocked him out. Like, she did nothing. She just locked herself away. So, I mean, Lizzie just, walks out to her death pretty much. And she knows she has no car keys. She's like, where's my keys? You have your purse? You have your phone? You don't have your key? Like, what are you doing, girl?
Yeah.
So mine's Lizzie. It was pretty bad.
I'd be surprised if you don't win this one because
But there's a bunch of never split up moments, yeah.
I'm gonna go with one that we actually didn't touch on really. We didn't cover it in our review, but this was another one when I was just kind of doing a double take at the screen. Like, did that really just happen? It's at the school after the sheriff arrives, and they tell the cops tell Jessica. I believe it's Jessica, Gabby, and Evan are all together, and he says, "Don't split up. Like, stay together, stay in pairs." And then they instantly, literally 5 seconds later, they split up and Jessica is by herself. And I just thought that was so silly. That I know that it was kind of intentional, that it was just literally right after the cops told them not to split up, but I thought that was pretty silly. So I'm going to go with that whole sequence in the school where they kind of split up and Gabby and Evan get abducted. I thought they were
that's what
silly.
Leads to them getting abducted.
Yeah.
And I love how Jessica, she's calling the phone and she just keeps walking further in till I'm like, what are you doing, girl?
Oh, yeah, that's just icing on the cake. They're like, can you come here? They text her. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I'm like, girl.
Yeah.
Those are two.
Once you see the phone, 180, a fucking sprint. Yep. I mean, come on. You know a killer is after you guys. That. Yeah, I know. So
that's a good one. I like that one a lot.
Silly. Yeah.
That's a classic never split up right there.
It is. Yes. Conventional, if you will. All right, let's get into our scores. I'll let you just pick who wants to go first. I don't really care.
Yeah, I'll go first.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
I'll go first. Yeah, like I said, guys, this is a fun, campy blast of a slasher whodunit. It has a lot of the elements that I like in a horror movie. I'm so happy that I have a Thanksgiving slasher. It's not the greatest thing ever made, and it's not like one of my favorite movies, but I think that it's important that we have a very, very, very rewatchable Thanksgiving horror holiday slasher. And I think it's a great time. Again, I wish maybe a couple more sequences of actual terror and horror and suspense and chase. But other than that, I mean, Eli Roth set out to make a fun movie and he succeeded. So I'm going to give this one a 7.8. I think it's a really, really good time.
Okay, great. Yeah, I mean, everything you just said, I think this is a blast. It's super rewatchable. I'm obviously going to watch this every year. I think Eli Roth blended the mixture of everything perfectly. I hear what you're saying, just but I also didn't expect that, so I can't really critique it because I knew what I was getting into. And yeah, it's super gory. I love the gore, even if it's over the top at times. There are a couple things that are a little weak that make it not quite like this absolute masterpiece, but I really, really enjoy this movie, and I think it has a solid place in that kind of the holiday season lineup for horror. And I think it's going to be a staple every year as we transition into Christmas time. It's going to be one of those transitional movies, and you know, it's just a fun time. I think Patrick Dempsey kind of takes it over the top at the end. I mean, we didn't really talk about his reveal and his switch up too much, but I think he did a great job of playing the villain. It was just hokey enough to kind of fit within the story. So I think it had a great payoff, and yeah, I really, really enjoyed this. I'm going to give this movie an 8.6.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, 8.6. Yep.
I love that. All right. I can't wait for the sequel.
Can't wait for the sequel. It's going to be, I guess, coming out next Thanksgiving. So
yeah, we got 1 year.
Keep an eye out for that. And I can't wait to get into more Eli Roth with you.
Yeah,
that's going to be fun. I guess. I don't know. We'll probably do a ranking
before we cover
every movie because that's going to take a while. So maybe it'd be good to pump out the ranking kind of first, and then we can kind of go back.
Go from there.
Yeah, we'll see. So
because I want to know I'm curious about your favorite Eli Roth movie too. So I want to.
I'm curious too. I gotta do rewatches and really like solidify everything. So that's gonna take a while, but yeah, I'm excited for that. So we have so much in store for you guys this upcoming holiday season and then into next year. So I can't wait for you guys to stick around and see what we have. But until next time. You can follow us on social media. We're on Twitter or X and Instagram at NeverSplitUpPod. We mentioned the polls a couple times. If you guys don't vote in the polls, we'd really appreciate it if you voted in the polls. And, of course, we're on YouTube now. We're trying to get that goal
so close to 200.
Of 200 subscribers. So please subscribe to our YouTube. Even if you don't listen to us on YouTube, if you have an account, we really appreciate you kind of logging on, finding us on YouTube, and subscribing to the podcast and maybe liking a couple videos because that really helps, I think, the YouTube algorithm. And thanks to all of our loyal watchers on YouTube who are always commenting on our videos and everyone on the podcast side. We appreciate you guys so much. But until next time, everyone, have a happy Thanksgiving and we will see you next time. Bye.